we're going to speak to someone very soon that spends a lot of time in a confined space.
We're going to talk about being up in a small space, floating in the sky for a very long period of time. But I'm wondering, we asked you this morning, what's the most confined space you've had to share with someone for a decent chunk of time? Perhaps a light aircraft or even a mine shaft? But imagine having to share with someone the space of just 1 by 1.5 metres roughly for 18 solid hours.
18?
That's a long time, isn't it? That's a full day pretty much, isn't it? Our next guest was confined to a basket of this size when she represented the country. She represented Australia last month in the Bennett gas balloon race across Europe. Australian aviator Ruth Wilson, good morning to you. You've got your feet on the ground this morning. How does it feel?
Oh, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Paula. It's lovely to be here with you.
Yes, thanks for coming in. The Bennett gas balloon race across Europe, what is that?
1906, Gordon Bennett started the air race, but also cars and bikes. He was a publisher in New York.
Yeah.
It's country against country, and it's a distance race. So we all take off from the same spot in the basket and the gas balloon, and we fly as far as we can. So my co-pilot and I, Tanys, we managed to fly 409 kilometres from Bern in Switzerland, and we landed in a vineyard in Italy. So it's an amazing experience because we were above the Alps, the Swiss Alps and the Dolomites for those 17 and a half hours at night with the moonlight. So
how are you? I mean, obviously you've got pretty sophisticated technology now to navigate, but were you able to sort of see roughly where you were going from the bright lights of towns on the ground?
Well, there were no towns in the Alps.
Right.
So, it wasn't easy.
No clusters of light dotted along the way at all?
No. Because we were 16,000 feet
right.
the whole flight.
Yep.
All I could see were the tips of the mountains through the snow-covered mountains through the clouds.
Incredible.
So why travel at night?
It's the gas contracts at night, and then when the sun comes up, it expands, so you can fly further distance with the hydrogen.
Right.
And Ruth, Ruth, I was just about to ask you, you talk about gas balloons, and so that's different to helium balloons. What are we actually talking here as far as the technology goes?
Right. In Australia, we have hot air balloons. They fly on propane and a flame that heats the air inside the envelope. We don't have gas balloons. A gas balloon is filled with hydrogen or helium, but there's a little supply of helium in the world today. So hydrogen is the way to go. And I'm planning to try to get the first hydrogen gas balloon race here in Australia in April 2020, and hopefully from Western Australia, if we can find the hydrogen here.
As an experience, going in a basket up in the sky, what is the difference? Do you feel any difference depending whether it's propane propelled or hydrogen propelled?
The hot air balloon is fast and instant.
Yeah.
Our flights last about 2 hours maximum.
Sure.
But the hydrogen balloon is a different energy altogether. The envelope is sealed off, and we didn't have, but the serious pilots who do it every year in the Northern Hemisphere have a bed in their basket. It's all latest technology for them, and it's a different demand on the body.
Well, you're a long way up in the sky, which has its own impacts on the body. What about the person you were with? Did you know them going into the race? Because obviously you've got to spend a lot of time working together as a team, but just in each other's company as well.
I think that's part of the secret of the success of the race, to have the right person beside you. And I certainly had the right person with Tanys McCarron, who lives in the hinterland of Brisbane. She's an aviator also, and we worked very well together. And when we were finally coming in to decide where to land this balloon with only 2 bags of sand left, which was quite demanding because you need at least 5, they say. Tanys looked at me and said, "Whatever happens, we're in this together." Never forgot.
That's not what you want to hear, surely.
No, it was lovely. We were in a dire situation, and
really?
we handled it very well.
So Ruth, often when we think about balloon flight, we all think, oh, it's all relaxing, nice and floaty. You're describing something that sounds very stressful.
Well, there are only 30 Gordon Bennett pilots in the world. So it's like the America's Cup of ballooning.
Yeah.
So it's a small group of people who need to push themselves to the limit in a challenge like this. So it's a different energy, different world, actually.
I can't help but chuckle every time you say Gordon Bennett.
Yeah.
Is this because, you hear people say, oh, Gordon Bennett?
Well, in the Northern Hemisphere, yes.
Yeah.
It's very well known. But
Yes, people from the UK particularly.
Exactly.
I guess we're talking about the Gordon Bennett here, are we?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, okay. I don't know the origins of the same, but
Yes.
perhaps now I'm a little closer.
Because anybody who's involved in a Gordon Bennett event,
Yes.
particularly the gas balloon flight, which is the rarest.
But you said it a few times.
Well, I haven't actually. I've said a few other things,
Yeah.
not Gordon Bennett.
Yeah.
But it's been an amazing year for me because early in the year I wrote a book, the 50-year history of the Northam Aero Club.
I was going to ask you about that.
That's why I'm here in Western Australia.
Yeah.
We've just launched it, and it's more a lot of anecdotes and funny stories about all these characters who started with a dirt strip.
Yeah.
And they've got this amazing regional airline out there now, an airfield out there. And I really love being over here. I've enjoyed being in Perth. I could easily settle here, actually.
Oh, why don't
I
you?
love the energy here.
You're more than welcome, Ruth.
I have to find a gas balloon and I have to find some hydrogen. So
That shouldn't be too hard.
So I can
We've got abundant
Put a ball
things
out.
over here, minerals and gases and everything else. So yeah, I'm sure that shouldn't be too hard.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
So with Christmas coming on, I really wanted to encourage your listeners to think about getting this book from the Northern Visitors Centre. They'll send it to you. It's a lovely idea for a gift to put under the Christmas tree or to give to your loved
You
ones.
say it's got some interesting characters in it. What are some of the characters that really stick out in your memory when it comes to the history of the Northam Aero Club?
Well, there's a gentleman called John Douglas, and maybe a lot of people in Perth personally know John quite well. He's the chief flying instructor here at Jandakot, and he was one of the early instructors over there. And Adrian Clements lives in Perth. He was one of the founding members of the club, a balloonist, and they started with the concept, I want to fly, how do I make this happen? So it's about people who follow their passion and their love of what they want to do and achieve. And I think we're losing a lot of that in our modern day society. So I love anything that inspires people to not deny themselves the pleasure of what they want to feel or do in life. And that's what these characters and all these people have done for the township of Northam. And that's why I really want to do this, gas balloon flight across Australia. So it's a big challenge, but I'll let you know as it unfolds.
Yeah, good luck with it.
Yeah, and Ruth, what does WA need to do to get the Gordon Bennett gas balloon race across Europe being a race across WA or Australia?
What a
do you need to
lovely
do?
question, Paul. I just need somebody with a vision to contact me through my website, ruthwilson.net.
Yep.
And we need to find hydrogen. That's what I need to do.
Yeah. Is hydrogen dangerous?
Well, it is if it mixes with oxygen, but with the not with the gas balloons, they're so securely tied off and secure. There's never been a problem with the gas balloon because of hydrogen.
I take it Hindenburg's a dirty word then when you're floating up in the sky then.
Never enters my mind.
Which is probably good. That would be a genuine Gordon Bennett moment, wouldn't it? We asked the question before about people and their memories of being in a confined space for long periods of time.
We were on oxygen for the whole time.
Yep.
And after 33 hours without sleep and freezing cold, people say to me, why do you do it? And, well, I have an answer, but I'm not going to share that.
I'm sure it's in the book. Ruth, thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us tales of your incredible adventure.
Oh, thank
And we
you
look forward to the race coming here to Western Australia.